Hello there. This is the Silly Moustache speaking again, and this time I'm not going to sing a song or play a tune. I recently saw a thread on the Acoustic Guitar Forum about performance nerves, and I thought it might be helpful to other people to just tell you my take on this. First of all, if you don't ever have any nerves about getting up on stage and performing in front of an audience, you're probably missing something. It is always best to have a little frissons, if that's a word, when you're on stage. That's why people go on and do it for years and years and years. However, it can get out of hand. And I've just printed off the things that I wrote on the AGF, but let's just think about this for a minute. Stage fright. It's just another form of being nervous, the same way as you would be in a job interview, or on a first date, or giving a presentation at work, or driving a new car, all that sort of thing. But what are nerves? In this context, they're an instinctive response to something that your mind-body interprets as a danger, or a challenge, or a conflict. It's the old fight-flight thing. You know, we are basically just hunter-gatherers walking around worrying about whether there's going to be a tiger jump on us, or an enemy with a spear or something, you know. That's what our body and mind were developed for. We've gone a bit further than that, but the instincts are still there. So let's know the enemy. When you get those nerves, understand that it's because your mind and body is reacting, as I've just said, instinctively. You can learn to handle that. It's still going to happen, but if you become aware of the fact that that's what's happening in you, then maybe it won't be so bad. So how do you do that? Well, first of all, you can tell yourself that there is no tiger about to attack you, and the audience isn't an enemy tribe with spears and swords about to challenge you. Just understand that the shallow breathing, the cold sweats, the stiffening up of your hands, which makes you make mistakes, is just part of that reaction. The sweat is to be able to, it was designed to make you run faster and more difficult to grip. The powering heartbeat is pumping blood around your body to make you run faster, fight faster, whatever. Yeah, and the stiffening of the sinews, as they say, is something that people commonly experience going into battle, and it's just the same old thing happening because your situation, getting up on a little stage to play guitar and sing to a few people, is being misinterpreted by your instincts. So you can work to a degree, you can work to accept these things and just think, oh yes, I'm having a little panic. All right, calm down, slow the breathing down, become aware of your breathing, you know. The other good thing to do as a guitarist is to do some exercises. Now there's some good advice on YouTube about doing exercises. Just stretch your fingers out. Just do some stuff, not too hard, nothing too, just limber up. Just loosen those muscles that are tightened for the fight, you know. That can help. Have a little walk around, get a little bit of fresh air. I'm going to say this repeatedly through this. I saw one of the answers on AGF about taking some sort of drug. Believe me, taking alcohol or any sort of drug to make it easier for you to perform, you're just fooling yourself. It's like driving. You can't drive drunk, you can't drive well drunk, and you can't play well drunk or high. It's self-indulgent, and it's a disservice to your audience. The other thing is, when you get up, I have a little trick when I get up in front of an audience, whatever size. Most of my audiences are pretty small. I get up and I go, hello, I don't put on any airs. I don't pretend to be someone special or famous. I'm meeting friends. Often I am. I've become friends with lots of people that come and watch me play when I play. And but as far as I'm concerned, if they've done me the courtesy of sitting there to watch me play, I think that's a friendly act, and I'm going to be friendly towards them. I'm not going to be stuffy. I'm not going to be withdrawn. I dislike the sort of performer that gets up on stage, ignores the audience and starts playing. I don't think that's fair or right, or actually I think it's rude. So I say hello. I've got a little trick that I use to make sure that you can cover the audience. There's a club that I used to go to play at, which was a long thin room, and you were halfway up it. So you had a lot of audience there. You also had audience there, and you also had audience there, which is very difficult. So to communicate with, I mean. So my trick was to pick out a few people, either that I knew, or often, I say this carefully, but often ladies, who was receptible to a smile or a little comment, never a personal comment, but a little bit of eye contact. And I'd pick a few people around, and when I wasn't going to cover and make eye contact with everybody in the audience, then I'd make contact with them, and no one knew for sure who you were looking at, but they knew, you know. And if you, a friendly smile in an relaxed entertainment situation is often returned. That gives you more confidence, and you're relating to the audience as a whole. So you're playing away, you know, and you're getting through to all of them. I confess that I do tend to close my eyes when I'm soloing with a trio, when it's my turn to take a break. There's some strange way that I see the keyboard better with my eyes closed in my mind. It's not even physically seeing it, but it just tends to work for me. That's okay, but don't sing and play without making contact with your audience, because then you're isolating yourself, and that can add to your nerves. Talk to the audience in between. That'll relax them, and it'll relax you. Nothing forced, nothing too long, and please don't ramble on. I've seen people, I've done it myself. You talk too long and you ramble, and especially through a poor mic like an SM58 or something, they don't hear half of what you're saying. So they're just thinking, what's he saying? You've lost them. Yeah. So I have in my repertoire, I have songs that remind me of little stories. We're talking about 30 seconds or something, that relate to the person that wrote it, or to the arrangement, or something that happened when I was playing it once upon a time. Again, you're communicating. But keep it short and speak clearly. When you speak to an audience, as in with a presentation, or when you're acting or whatever, you have to speak clearly so people can understand what you're saying, or it's lost and the contact is lost. The art of playing well is only partly about playing well. I've seen great musicians make mistakes. I've seen Martin Taylor make mistakes. I've seen Martin Simpson. I've seen Stephen Grossman make mistakes. I've seen John Martin make mistakes. They keep on going. This is the secret. Never start, muck up and stop unless it's absolutely impossible to continue. So you miss a note, you flub a little bend or something like that. Just keep going. Keep the face happy. Don't show. Don't do this. It makes them more aware of the situation. But if you do, half of them won't even notice that you've made a mistake, and those that do will think, oh, was that, and then they're back listening and they've forgotten about it. And then you go home and you beat yourself up for 3 hours thinking, oh, I was a fool, I messed that up. It's entertainment, right? Can you imagine what it's like when they're recording a full symphony orchestra and one person makes a bum note? It happens all the time. Well, that's what the engineers do afterwards. That's supposed, that's mixing and stuff. So that it happens. You're not, when you're doing a concert, you're not playing a recording. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be entertainment. So just make it as good as you can. Don't beat yourself up if it goes wrong. Carry on. Most people will never know. Sorry, I have to keep drinking when I talk. What else did I say? Yes, on that sort of point about messing up. First of all, just know there's no one in the audience that really wants you to mess up. Most won't notice it, as I said. Never show it on your face. And no one else will consider you a failure because your playing isn't perfect. Now, unless you're in some sort of strange flat-picking competition at a bluegrass festival, something I would never enter, playing isn't a competition. It's about entertaining your audience. You see, it's not about you, it's about them when you're playing in public. Remember that. So, if you're unsatisfied with it, okay, make it better next time. But we all make mistakes because we're human. And personally, I'm not interested in going to see someone that plays absolutely perfectly with no soul or no feeling or no humanity. And I think most people would agree with that. Oh, by the way, I've got a real problem with DVDs and courses and things like that say, play like, insert the name of your guitar hero. You will never play exactly like Jimi Hendrix, Joe Satriani, Martin Simpson, whatever, because they had their own style. You have your own style. No one could ever play like you as well as you play like you. Be an individual. You don't have to be the greatest, you don't have to be the cleverest. One of my greatest heroes was the late great Guy Clark, Texan singer-songwriter. He wasn't a great guitarist. He wasn't a great singer. He often forgot his words. But boy, he was great entertainment. And he wrote some beautiful, beautiful songs. So he's still my hero. Again, I'm going to finish by repeating, never, never fool yourself that alcohol or drugs will make you a better performer. And stick to still water until you're off stage. The danger with playing in pubs is that sometimes the landlords and things will think it's a nice thing, or even the audience, to buy you a beer or something like that. Keep it on the side until after the performance. Don't drink fizzy water, it'll make you burp in public. Drink plain still water. Oh, I don't do fizzy drinks, but avoid Coca-Colas and muck like that as well. Plain water to lubricate. There is a product called vocal zones, which are designed for singers and public speakers. They're very good, and not drugs. So my last thought is, as you become more confident, and you don't get this by practicing at home, because it's a completely different game. Practicing at home to get something perfect is necessary. Rehearsals are necessary. But as soon as you get on stage in front of an audience, it's a whole different bag of worms, isn't it? So as soon as you get more confident in playing in public, you should still get nerves. But are those nerves fight and flight, fear type reactions, or are they just the excitement of doing something you love? And if when you get up there and you find you don't love it, and you never love it, don't force yourself. Go and play golf. Or just sit at home and enjoy your guitars there. That's all I wanted to say. I hope this has been useful to you. Any questions, please ask me below and I'll try my best to answer them. Thanks a lot. Bye.